Hello, welcome to Such Nice Work. I'm Kendra. You can find me on Ravelry as Kendra KS, on Etsy as Cutesy Poo Creations, here on YouTube as Cutesy Poo Creations in the little box below. Or on the blog, cutesyypoocreations.blogspot.com, which show notes have been a little intermittent, but hopefully I will start posting a little bit more there. I put some stuff about my stash up a little while ago because I don't really like the stash function on Ravelry. And I have actually already found the listing my stash on the blog to be helpful because I can go and find out if I really have things that my imagination tells me I have. Because sometimes, I think I have things and I've used them and whatever. So yeah. Today, what am I wearing? I'm wearing this lovely necklace that my daughter made me for Valentine's Day, though she gave it to me before because she said she just couldn't wait. So I was like, I love you, Mom, and all that stuff. But then she was going to write love on it again, and it just says LOE. She only had one V. She didn't want to waste it on me. So yeah, I don't get the second V in my love. But that's okay. Today is her 6th birthday. So there's the sign above. Happy birthday! Yay! I have a 6-year-old. I don't know when that happened. But yeah, we've been busy. Today is Tuesday, February 24th. It has been 3 weeks since I've uploaded. Not intentionally, we just haven't really been around and stuff. I guess I'll start with kind of what's going on in life, and then we'll move on from there. Yes, I said it's my daughter's 6th birthday. We took a trip to California for the last 10 days. Well, 10 days-ish. We've been home a few days. But while we were there, we were able to have a birthday party for her with our family, and that was really fun because everybody but us lives California. Word. And we live in Kansas, which is great because they all don't. But we had a rainbow-themed birthday party at a park by my parents' house. So we had rainbow themes. Everything had rainbow colors. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple for every course of the meal. So we had snacks in those colors, and we had sandwiches in those colors, and we had fruit plates and veggies, and then we did cupcakes, which is what she asked for. So we had funfetti cupcakes, and then I frosted them white, and then I dunked them in the colored sugar in the different colors, so they were all rainbowy. And we also made Fruity Pebble treats, because Rice Krispie treats are our usual birthday go-to, but those are not rainbow colored. And even though I dyed them purple for my wedding treats, I wasn't going to go to the time and effort to dye each color. So even though I did make pasta salad where I dyed each of the colors of noodles, which was remarkably easier than I expected and quite a big hit. So, we had Fruity Pebble treats, which I would rather have Rice Krispie treats, but I just generally don't like Fruity Pebbles. So that's that. The rainbow party was good. It was very nice to come home. Going on vacation always reminds you why you no longer live with your parents once you're past a certain age. And having kids in a house that is basically equipped to have 70-year-olds in it rather than 7-year-olds and less. The kids needed their own normal space to be in. So now they are back in that, and that is good. Other news, before we left, I found out that I got into the Kansas Sampler Festival, which is a big craft show and general tourism event in Kansas that will be in Wamego in May. So if you are anywhere near me, I will maybe see you there. But it means that I have to kind of get a move on and start business crafting rather than fun crafting. So I was kind of taking this trip as my last opportunity to do some personal crafting. I almost finished everything. I didn't really get much done on vacation at all because we were just busy chasing kids, and then I got sick. So first, my ankle had been sprained, which is getting much better. I can now walk on it like a somewhat normal person, so long as I don't try and have any quickness, because quickness makes me gimp. So I didn't get much crafting because I sprained ankle. Then we were there and had the party, and then 2 days after the party, I got food poisoning or something, and I got sick for a whole day of the trip, and that was kind of lame. Which that might have been the day I would have been able to craft, but I did get a lot done in the car, because on the way home, my husband did, I think, all the driving on the way home. So I worked a bunch on my shawl, which you will see later. I also auditioned again at the Kansas Sampler Festival, got into Cider Days, but that isn't till September. But it's also a big show, so yay! But, ooh. So, yeah. Moving along to my squeaky wheels, things in my life that need attention. So as far as my life goes, I told the kids today when we were at the library we didn't get any books other than some easy readers for my daughter because I need to go through and get rid of some of these. So my plan is to go through at least half of one of my 3 full shelves that are behind me before the next time I podcast, which hopefully will be generally a week from now. So that is that squeaky wheel. And then as far as my craftiness goes, I need to make a plan of what I'm going to craft with the mountain of stuff, which you will see, that I procured on my vacation to make stuff for sale. So, moving along to I'm proud of you. So the things that I have completed. On Ravelry, I signed up for the Star Trek Fiber Art Corps, which is basically like the Star Trek nerd equivalent to the House Cup in Harry Potter. And so one of the missions this month was like to learn a new skill or something. And I was thinking that I should really just turn in some of the stuff as my new skill, being that I got things done before the day they were needed, which I rarely do. But I was ready ahead of schedule on some of these. So I made 4 hats since the last time I podcasted. One of them went to my mom, and it is in California. But it is made out of this. They're all made out of the same yarn. They're all made out of Bernat Mosaic in the Optimistic colorway, which I got from Yarn Factory Outlet by, like, when they do their case sales. I got a case of this last year, a while ago, for a really good price. And I got it because I've been watching stuff on the Crochet Crowd, and Mikey had made something out of one of the, he made an Afghan out of the mosaic, and I liked how it had really long color repeats. I guess kind of like Noro, but, you know, on the cheaper end of that. And actually, I saw some Noro at the LYS by my mom's while I was out there, and I was not a big fan. So I'm kind of glad that, yeah, I was working with this, which I have come to like somewhat, and this just, I have a string that is not woven in, and it's not hiding, so you're just going to have to see it. So I made 3 hats, one for each of my kids. So this is for my youngest son. He's about a year. So this is the chin strap. These are using the pattern, it's called the Delaney hat. It's free pattern on Ravelry. I forget who it's by, I'm sorry. But what I liked about it was it kind of gives you the effect of having a pom-pom, which are really like trendy and fun and cool. But when I make normal pom-poms, my kids go and they like pick all of the yarn out. And so with these curly cues, they can't pick them off, but they still get that same effect. So that's kind of fun. So that was for my youngest. And then, let's see, then there's one for my middle son. And he has worn his a surprising amount. I expected him to not want to wear his at all. But he's worn it a lot on our trip. So there's that. And then for my daughter, made her one too. And actually, I started out making like the toddler size, thinking that would fit my son, my middle son. And it actually fit the youngest one. And then with the children's size, I was going to make for my daughter, and it was too small for her. So anyways, she liked the adult size, but she likes her hats really big because her hat will fit me. But she has worn it a bunch too. And the other kind of cool thing about these hats is they were all put together. I had made a cardigan for myself using the wraparound cardi pattern from Lion Brand, and it didn't fit right. I was never happy with it, and I didn't like this yarn for that purpose. It itched my skin. Though now that I've washed these hats a bunch, I think I'd be able to have worn it, but I just didn't like the way it fit. So I frogged it, and I frogged it into these hats, which is why the striping isn't always the way it should be, because, you know, they're torn off of arms and backs and all the parts of the cardigan. And then the other thing I made for my daughter for her party was this skirt. It is from a pattern called the Not Your Granny skirt. And basically, it's like a giant granny square with an attached waistband, and then I put elastic in the band. And she's worn it a couple of times, and it is super duper cute. I have been wanting to make this pattern for a while. I actually kind of wanted to make it for myself to wear to craft shows and just generally for fun. But I never got around to it. But I made it for her, and she really liked it. I was actually going to scrap this project. I had mentioned to her I was going to make it, and she just was not enthusiastic. So I was just like, well, then I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do other stuff. And then 2 days before we left to go on our trip, she goes, so Mom, when are you going to start working on my skirt? And I was like, oh, did you want that skirt? She's like, yeah. She was all excited about it. So I started working. And this is what I did in the car mostly on the way out there. See, I think it took me about a day and a half's worth of work to do this. And I think that's about all I did. So I got those done. So that was good. I also today actually made this cupcake dishcloth in the car on our way to the library and back. That's kind of fun. I've been working on some more parts to that. So moving along to the will I procrastinate or will I prioritize? I actually have some other things that I'm done with. I'm apparently in like assembly line mode where I'm making multiples of some things. So rather than like completing like a doll, I'll make like a number of the heads and then a number of the bodies and a number of whatever, and I kind of have them grouped together. So I have actually, I guess, have the completed parts for 2 sunflower dolls and a daisy doll. But I'm in process on a number of dolls. I'm calling them Wildflower Babies. They are using this pattern called Sleeping Buddies Lavender Stuffed Dolls. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. But basically with the hoods, I have kind of changed it a little, and the hoods, like this is the sunflower hood. So it has an edging on it, so that when you put the little head that will be stuffed inside it, the head is going to be brown, like the center of a sunflower, and then the little hood will look like flower petals. And then I have the bodies and stuff done too. So they're all in little packets. But I haven't stuffed them yet because number one, then I have to find room to store the stuffed toys. And number two, it was just faster for me to work on this part right now, and then I'll sit down and do the stuffing and finishing of a number of the dolls all at once. So yes, I'm working on sunflowers, daisies, bluebells that I have the part started for, and then I'm also going to make like probably a rose and maybe an African violet. We'll see. But that's where I'm at on those. And then I also have been making some more of the cupcake dishcloths. So I have 3 more tops. This is from one skein of the sugar and cream. Got me the 4 tops to these cupcakes, and then we'll see how far I can get with the bottoms. So that's kind of cool. Dishcloths are relatively new thing for me to make. I know they're fairly simple. I just skipped that step, I guess, when I was going through the easy beginner things you crochet. I've also been working on another doll pattern, which I have right here somewhere. Where'd it go? Doll. There they are. This doll, BB Dolls. It's another free pattern on Ravelry. And I have, this one's completed, it's just not sewn together. So you have a little head, a little hair on top. And then there's this little body. She has little arms and legs, and then just little body bit. And it shoves inside the little dressy bit, like this. And then you hook the little, oh, where'd my other arm go? Well, she has a second arm somewhere. Anyways, and then the little head goes on top. So this is what she looks like all unwoven. She's much cuter when she's, put together properly. But these are pretty cute. So I am working on some of these. I'll make them with some different hair colors and stuff. So that one I have all the parts too. I was trying to make some samples of some different things to see what I would want to make in some sort of quantity. And I do. These are both from the same designer, whose name escapes me right now. But I really like her patterns. They've been very easy to follow and well-sized, I guess. But here's, the next dress I was working on. So we'll have, little shoes that are this color and go from there. So, yes, I'm working on dolls right now. I keep coming and going, what are you doing now? Are you making another doll? My son told me yesterday, you're making too many dolls, Mom. Because I think he is still under the impression that he's going to get some of these dolls, which he's not. What else have I been working on? Oh, the fun thing, the things for me. I have been working on the mystery crochet along for the Rose City Yarn Crawl. And I finished clues 1, 2, and I have 2 rows left on clue 3. So this is what it looks like. And then there's a 4th clue, which I have not started yet. Oop, I'm stuck. My hook's in there. Okay, so here is what the shawl. Oop, my stitch marker's stuck. Let's see. Where'd you go? There you are. I like this little stitch marker I made. It's got little stork scissors on it. It was just, I had a bunch of charms that I got when I was beading years ago, and I got a bunch of sewing ones, because I knew different people that were into sewing, and they were just kind of sitting around doing nothing, and so when I decided I needed some stitch markers on lobster claws, I made myself some. For whatever reason, this little stork scissor one is like my favorite. I think it's super cute, and it usually doesn't get caught on things quite the way some of my other ones do, but today, apparently not. So, this is what it looks like. The middle is Araucania Huasco or something like that. And then the edging is in Cascade 220, the not superwash, in Indigo Frost Heather. And then it also has some little, has beads on it, which you can't really see from there, but up close you can see them. They are almost the exact color of the edging. So I've been learning to put beads on things, and that's kind of fun. And there's also going to be a top edging that's also going to be in the gray with some beads. So I think this turned out really cute, and it will be very fun to wear once it is, you know, all done and stuff. So been working on that because I'm hoping to be able to wear it this spring and summer as I do various things. I also, so Clue 1 came out, and it was the first 100 rows of this, and that was really exciting, and I got it done in like a day. So then I decided, with the mystery, you could do like a solid or it could be striped, and so I decided to make a second one that was going to be striped. And that I was using Red Heart, Heart and Soul, and Lion Brand Sockies, because they were like the only fingering weight yarns I had, other than the stuff I'd bought specifically for this. And so I started on a striped version here. And I would have, you know, kept up with it, except I kind of, you know, ran out of time on what I had been doing, and the second clue came out, and I went to do the second clue, and I looked at it, and it basically, which I kind of thought when I was doing the first one, that what they were going to have you do was come back in, flip your starting chain, and then do the other side basically the same, so that you ended up with a symmetrical shawl, which I recognize for most people makes it more wearable, but I was hoping for something a little more exciting, maybe more cutting edge or something. But yeah, so I started on this, and then I got that, and I read it, and I was like, same 100 rows again. That's not very exciting, and kind of made me put that off and kind of get behind, and so this one has not been getting the love and attention that it needs. But I kind of like this quite a bit, actually. The more I'm looking at it as I'm holding it up, I'm liking it more and more. So I need to get on finishing this one. And then this one's going to have like brown and gold beads. And the edgings are going to be, one of them I think is going to be in each of the colors. But I haven't quite figured all that out yet. I'll see how much yarn I have. So I'm just working with whatever got on hand on that. So I'm working on those, and I think that is everything that I need to decide whether I'm going to procrastinate or prioritize about. Kind of depends when you ask me what I'm going to do with what. Primarily, I think the things that are for sale are going to be prioritized, but at the same time, I really want to get my shawl done. So, as far as personal projects, I think that one's kind of floated to the top. Let's see. Hoarding a mountain of good intentions. I did add to the hoard while we were in California because we were there for President's Day weekend, which meant that there were yarn sales. I actually had hoped the sales were going to be better than they were, but they were not terrible. They were better than full price yarn. So I went to Joann's, and I'll just show you the general bags of things I got because you don't need to see everything. I'll show you just the exciting stuff. So I went to Joann's and Michael's, and these are a mix of things because they went, in the trunk of the car. So these are just the yarn. I also got a bunch of cardstock and stuff too. But at Joann's, I got a bunch of the Deborah Norville Serenity Chunky to make more crock socks, like I made my mom for Christmas. Yeah, where we live, we're not close to any of even the big box stores other than Walmart. So I don't have a lot of access to some of this stuff like this to stock up on, and I used all of the Serenity Chunky that I had. I got this kind of springy color that I didn't have before. It is also interesting to see the difference in what even the big box stores carry depending on where you live. Because I've been to the big box stores here. Though we have Hobby Lobby, we don't have Michael's near us. So there are Michael's in Kansas, but not remotely near us. But they don't have Hobby Lobby in California. So yeah, just see the difference in the colors. So at Michael's, I got some Super Saver, not a lot, but I got mostly variegates, and I got stuff that we don't have in store here. I know that I could order it online from like Joann's and stuff, but I got some different colors that we just, for whatever reason, they don't carry in our stores. And these would be cute for like the doll dresses and making card organizers and stuff. So yeah, I got that stuff. And then the biggest thing that I went with the intention of getting and then was super excited to get was at Michael's. I got a bunch of Wool-Like, which is their house brand fingering weight from Loops and Threads. And I got a bunch in this purple, and then I got some in this charcoal gray, and then I got a skein of green, what's the green called? Sage. And golden yellow. And somewhere in here is a brownish color, because I'm probably going to try and make something sunflowery in the near future here. Chocolate. So those three will become something Kansas-y. But I don't have a lot of fingering weight, and by a lot, I mean everything I have practically is in those two shawls. I have a little bit more of the heart and soul in some different colors, but I just don't have fingering weight. I had never really worked with it, but I am enjoying working with it and would like to some more. I have some projects that are coming up that I would like to use this on. So I got the Wool-Like, so I was very excited to go to Michael's because I've been hearing people on podcasts talk about Wool-Like, which is a fingering weight that is, what is the composition? It's machine washable, and so it's 85% acrylic, 15% nylon. So that is, super durable and can be given to people that do not necessarily know how to take care of yarny things, and they should theoretically not ruin them. So I got that, and then I also got some sugar and cream in different colors at Michael's. So that was all, which really I didn't get that much stuff. I did also go to the actual LYS where my mom lives, which is called Betty's, and that was fun. One day I went with my mom, and from their clearance rack, I got 4 of these, which are also by Araucania, which I figured out while I was making my shawl. I really like their yarn. And this is, this is Lonco Solid in the color 3009. It's like this purpley thing. But I was really excited because I got it for like 60% off. So I got 4 skeins of that. And hopefully I've been planning on making something called the Lisa shawl, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. Oh, let me pull it out. And it has like a ton of beads on it. It's a mix of open work open work and then beading. And I have a ton of beads because I used to bead. Here we go. It looks like this. It is actually one of the things on my list of 30 while I'm 30 that I want to make this shawl for myself. And so I'm just going to go through my beads now that I feel much more confident with the idea of beading something, and just get a ton of them that I think will kind of match, because I have a lot of purples and stuff, and blacks and silvers and whatever, and find a bunch that I think will look good with that, and just like put them in a bag and shake them up, and then just randomly just cover the thing in beads. So I think that'll be fun, and maybe I'll be able to get that done before the fair. We'll see. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to try and get done to enter in the fair, but I want to enter things in the fair again this year, and more things than I did last year. So I got those. I also bought the yarn for 2 other projects that are on my list of 30 things that I want to make while I'm 30. If you want to see that list, you can go to the blog. It is over there. I will be updating. I made an update at the end of January, and then I didn't post it because I don't know. I just didn't post it. So I will post one here at the end of February of where I'm at on the different goals. I don't think I've got very much that's actually done, but I have several things that are in progress. And I have found the list helpful because it keeps me, like, focused on some of the things that I want to make, especially for myself, because it can be easy to start making things for other people, and I don't always know if they're going to appreciate it, but I know that I will. So one of the things I want to make, these are all free patterns, is the Leona tunic by Drops Design. And the pattern is written for Drops Paris, which I rarely actually use the yarn the pattern is written for. But when I was reading online, Drops Paris got some terrible reviews. So I don't know if you've ever used Drops Paris. Is it any good? I don't know. But it's supposed to be a cotton yarn, and I decided instead I got this, which is a cotton linen mix. This is called Barocco Lindsay, and I got it for 50% off, so that was exciting. They weren't having President's Day sales. They just happened to have a sale on some of their stuff. I know all of their woolens were supposed to be on sale to some degree at the place, but yeah, this is in the colorway 6552. Isn't that an exciting color name? But it's kind of a blue, it's like a 2-ply, and one of the plies is blue, and the other ply is like the same lavendery bluey with like a gray mixed in, kind of a tweedy. So, I'm excited about this. I think it will be really fun. I also usually don't make things in the color that they are on the pattern, but something about this particular pattern, I just really wanted it in basically the same shade as the pattern. Just regardless of that. So I think it will look very good with, I've held it up, it looks really nice against like blacks, and I think it'll look good with khaki. So that'll give me some good summer options to wear that over like tank tops and stuff. And the other thing that is on my list, oh, and I got a bunch of this. I have like 8 or 10, I guess 8 skeins, I think, of this. And then for the next thing I want to make is this layering tunic vest, which is by Karen. It's supposed to be in Simply Soft, but it's cabled, and I don't know, just something I wanted to make. And I got this, which is Tahiki Yarn's new tweed, which is 70% merino, 15% silk, 11% cotton, and 4% viscose. That's a lot of things, but it feels really nice. It again is kind of a tweedy color with like this magenta-y thing. The lighting's really bad right now, but when I looked, I didn't know this turned out to be 50% off of all too, so that was exciting. I was looking at what colors I might want if I was going to get this, and I couldn't decide, and I knew I needed 10 balls, and then we counted, and there were 10 of these, so they had to come home with me. And now they're rubbing themselves up against my face like happy little tribbles. But yeah, so I'm going to start working on those at some point, kind of maybe to reward myself when I feel that I've done enough making of other things. I don't know, but first shawl, then moving on to other things, right? Hopefully we'll see. Because I am kind of excited and would kind of like to get started on these, but no. The main reason I just got all that stuff when I did is because I did want to get it in person somewhere, and having no LYS here, my mother's LYS. Not that she goes there, but my mother's LYS is basically my LYS. So yeah. What I'm reading, I'm still reading the same things. It was kind of sad. So the radio in our car does not work because of some weird safety feature. Anyways, that was tripped when we changed our battery. And so we have to use like our iPod plugged into like speakers, which is fine. Usually, I mean, if I brought headphones, it probably would have worked. But I'd put books on tape on the iPod with the intention of listening to them on our trip, but they were not loud enough to hear through the speakers. So none of those books got listened to, and now our iPod is on the fritz. So I will have to listen to them via my iTunes on my actual computer, whatever. But I am still reading Anne of Windy Poplars, and it is taking an upswing. The characters, at least in this book, are more interesting, even if I think that the writing pattern is a little strange. But other than that, not reading anything super exciting. And then what I'm watching, basically, we're just watching Star Trek. Star Trek! We are in the beginning of season 5. And so season 4 was pretty good. Season 5 has been pretty good too. So, yeah, that's basically when we have some time. That's what Steve and I have been watching. We're also finishing out Top Chef, which is always good. I don't know how I feel about some of their decisions toward the end. I'm trying to figure out whether I think a lot of the stuff they're doing this year is more produced than previous seasons. We'll see how the show shakes out. But I think, it's all right. Yeah, I think that's about it. This is another super short episode. It's going to be like less than half an hour. Which maybe that's a good thing. Though I have noticed, so I haven't been watching a crazy amount of podcasts lately because I haven't been home. Right now my watch later list is like 50-some episodes. But watch. Knowing me, by the end of the week, I'll be down to like hunting and pecking and trying to find something to watch. But I watch a lot of podcasts, but I haven't been watching them lately, so that usually takes up a lot of my watching time. I have also come to the conclusion that I must watch more than the average person does. I know that most people only watch like 3 or 4. I watch like 15 regularly or something like that. And I also seem to do a good job of absorbing the information from all the ones I watch. Like if you asked me what somebody was doing, I could probably pop off and tell you everything they've been making and whatever, and their general life stuff. I'm actually probably more interested in the general lifey stuff of the Yarny peoples than the Yarny stuff of the Yarny peoples. I don't know why. I was thinking about it though. I guess I kind of do. I always liked reality TV, but now it's just so much like bickering and fighting, and that's what reality TV is all about. So YouTube has become my reality TV minus all of that junk. So it's like the real reality. Only thing is, I guess people probably don't include like the real reality. It's the nicer stuff of the real reality of what's going on in people's lives, and what they're choosing to like share with the interwebs. But yes, so I have been catching up slowly but surely and enjoying what I've been seeing. I have been enjoying, I feel as though there is more respect being paid to crocheting. For a while, when I first started watching podcasts, I felt like there was a number of podcasters that I thought were kind of hating on the whole idea of like, you lowered yourself to only 1 hook instead of 2 needles and whatever. Just in part because you can do things quicker, especially if you are using a larger gauge, just because you can. Because especially, I mean, it's open. If you're doing something that's really open work, yes, there's a decent amount of speed, but there doesn't have to be. But I feel like a lot of the knitters are starting to crochet things like blankets and other things. So I think that's kind of cool. I think it's good to have a lot of skills. Kind of like I would like to knit at some point. It just is not in the cards right now. Soon enough, but not too soon. So yeah, I think that is it. I will try and record next week at some point. But if not, you'll see me when you see me. I'm not pod fading or whatever. Life is just getting in the way of me having a consistent schedule. And as this is merely a hobby and something fun to do, it does not necessarily float to the top of the priority list. Nor should it, but it is kind of fun. So, anyways, if you are still with me, which hopefully lots of you lots of the few of you anyways are, because it's not very long. Yeah, if you are still with me, then I love you more than cows and cheese and applesauce. And I hope that you have a good one and continue to make such nice work.